So we've got a pretty interesting chapter this week, quite different from some of the more recent chapters we've had. But before we dive in, I just want to give a quick recap on what's happened in the previous chapter. So in the previous chapter, we got to see the aftermath of the Stussy against Lucci and Kaku fight, with both Lucci and Kaku now being completely incapacitated. It was also revealed to us that Stussy is in fact the secret ally that Vegapunk has on Egghead. Also in that chapter, we got to see Zoro and S-Hawk clashing for the first time, as well as the Vegapunks gaining control of the Seraphims back from CP0, stopping the attack on Egghead. And then cutting to Marco on Sphinx Island, we learned that Weevil was captured by Aramaki as he was protecting the citizens from the Navy. Also in this chapter, we got confirmation that Barkin is in fact a Rocks Pirates member, as well as the freeloader of Mads, which was the science group formed by Queen, Judge, Caesar, and Vegapunk. This also confirmed to us that Stussy is in fact a clone of a younger Barkin. And then cutting back to Egghead, we also learn that Kizaru and one of the five elders are on their way there with a huge fleet of ships. And it was also revealed to us that one of the names of the five elders is in fact Saint J. Garcia Satin, which has exploded countless theories as to what the Five Elders' purposes are going to be for the end game of the story. Back to the most recent chapter, we now know that the title is Mark III, and this chapter starts with the CP0 agents who stayed on the Fabio phase being attacked by 50 units of a new Pacifista model, which the title refers to. It's interesting to note that these new pacifistas have sunglasses and wear different uniforms to the Mark I pacifistas, and they can also use a new technique called Bubble Shield, which is a slime-like shield developed by Vegapunk, so we're getting to see some more new technologies created by Vegapunk. We also find out that the CP0 agents say that the new pacifistas are in fact far superior to the old ones used in the Marineford War. We also find out that Sentomaru is the one who released these new pacifistas and has ordered them to assist in the escape of Vegapunk from Egghead. Stussy also arrives where the Vegapunk clones and the Straw Hat crew are, as well as the four Seraphim, with the group deciding to go search for the real Vegapunk, with Luffy and Zoro staying behind. We also learn that Luffy is tired after all the running and the fights, and in addition to that, he's broken his DOM shoes, which means he can no longer fly. Zoro is staying with him because the others don't want him to get lost, so they're going to stay in the control room guarding an unconscious Lucci and Kaku. Cut to Bonnie, we now know that she's in some sort of memory world that looks like a grass field, and we know that Vegapunk isn't with her. Bonnie also sees a shadow of a castle and some Tenryubito. Then Bonnie sees a young Kuma who looks exactly like how he did in the SBS drawing, being abused by some people, with the young Kuma being forced to return somewhere where he knows he's going to be harmed or killed. But back to the lab, Pythagoras is searching for the real Vegapunk when suddenly he turns around and senses something, and then the building explodes. The Frontier Dome barriers are also now down again, and the Vegapunk clones are unable to close them, and Shaka is trying to find a way to fix the problem, but if they are to leave now, they're just going to get shot down by CP0. Cut outside to Egghead Island, we see that the World Economy newspaper ship is flying in the sky, with Vivi inside with Morgans and Walpole, with the note that Walpole isn't with his wife Kinderella. We also know that Walpole is hiding something from the world government, just like Vivi is. Walpole tells Vivi to keep her voice down since maybe the world government devices are hidden somewhere within the ship. We then see Morgans thinking of a headline after hearing about Luffy on Egghead Island, where he says, "Got it. Yonko, Straw Hat, Luffy took Vegapunk as hostage, took over Egghead Island, and is about to start a war against the Marines. The world government is gonna love this headline." Then Morgan tells his staff to go collect some money from the world government, with Vivi being pretty angry at him. Vivi says Luffy wouldn't do such a thing, with Morgan saying, "You were crying until yesterday, now how dare you tell me how to do my job? I am the only one who can shake this world. It doesn't matter if it's a truth or a lie, since newspaper is entertainment." End of chapter, and we know that there's no break next week. So like I said, quite a lot of interesting things happening in this chapter. Not a lot of action, which I know is going to disappoint some people, but one of the big things that I took note of was Bonnie entering a memory world, which just confirms to me that Oda's taking a lot of the themes from the recent released One Piece Odyssey game, as we know that in that game you had the Memoria cubes, which would take you to the memories of different places that the Straw Hats have visited. So while it's not uncommon to see Oda taking a lot of these non-canon ideas and implementing them into the main story, like we saw with characters like Shiki, or even most recently with Yuta, it's going to be interesting to see how it differentiates from the game, but also what kind of implications it could be for maybe even detailing some facts about the Void Century later down the line. The other interesting thing of note is that we now know that Vivi is in fact safe, as it seems like Morgans and Walpole were able to successfully escape with her from the Reverie, as we know her father Cobra didn't make it from the Reverie alive. And the fact that Morgans is playing a more neutral side to the Straw Hats is something that we don't see too often, as we find a lot of people tend to lean towards helping the Straw Hats, which we thought would have been the case with Morgans being the one crowning Luffy the 5th Emperor. But it seems with this new headline, he's taking a more neutral stance, as this, I can only imagine, is going to cause a lot more problems as the Straw Hats are trying to leave Egghead. But yeah, that's the quick summary that we have of the most recent 1074 chapter. Let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. My name has been Shiki, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.